Welcome, fans and collectors! This is Marvel and DC 379 with another review, and today we'll be looking at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 Donatello. And just like Michelangelo before, this is a re-release, repainted version where the gear pads match the color of the mask, which is very cool. So before I begin, I would like to point something out. Normally with these re-release, repainted versions of the Turtles, they usually have a name. They usually have a word in front of their name, and for Donatello, it's Tech Donnie. But for my Michelangelo review, I forgot to point out is that he didn't have a word in front of his name, like Jokester Mikey. And when I was toy hunting, they actually had packages with Jokester Mikey. Let me point this out right now. You notice this says Tech Donnie. Well, this just says Michelangelo, which I find very interesting. But hey, doesn't matter. As long as I get the toys, that's all that matters. So let's begin. So colors are a moss green for Donatello in the 2012 series, which I really do like because I love the shades of green. Purple for his gear, like his mask, his elbow pads, knee pads, and the strap and belt on his chest. He has brown here on his wrists and brown on the wrappings on his feet. His front shell kind of looks like a caramel brown. So let's take a look, and if you notice on his legs there's a little bit of scaling detail to make him look a bit more reptilian, which I really do appreciate and adds a lot of detail, and I really like that. And there's some battle damage on his knee pads, which makes sense because the Ninja Turtles are superhero vigilante ninjas, so they're always fighting, like I said in my Michelangelo review. I kind of like how the wraps look worn out because they're training and combat. And I like the little details with the X's on his belt. And just like before with the shell, there's a lot of hexagons, which adds a lot of detail and realism. There's some paint missing on one of his foot wrappings, which is unfortunate. But it's not a big deal. If it bugs you that much, just repaint it. But it's only on my copy. I hope it doesn't affect others too. And you see the three toes, the little slits, which I really like, and they captured that very well in the form of a toy. So let's take a look at his head sculpt. I like it. It looks pretty serious, but it's not to the point of looking angry like Raphael. Though there's some sloppy paintwork on the side of his head where some of the purple paint is bleeding. And for his eyes, I like how serious they look, but the only thing I don't like is the color of his irises. They look like a yellow-orange, but if you watch the show or even look at the package, it's a different shade of brown. But that's okay, that doesn't bother me too much. But yeah, I really love the new painted eyes with the pupils and irises. Some people prefer the white eyes, some people prefer the normal eyes, but for me, it's either or. I like them both for different reasons. I like the all white eyes because it's very superhero looking, while the pupils and irises can make them look more realistic. And in comic books, especially Marvel and DC stuff, sometimes they go from all white or more realistic pupils and iris eyes. So articulation, ball jointed head, hinge shoulder, hinge elbow, swivel wrist, hinge hips, and hinge knees. So really good articulation for the Playmates toys. The only toys that have the best articulation are the Classic Collection 6-inch Turtles, and I'm still waiting for that to happen for the 2012 and 2003 Turtles. But hey, time will tell. For accessories, he does come with this bow staff. It's all brown. There's wrapping, but I kind of wish they kind of painted it like purple or even white, just like the previous Donatello staffs. One end is shorter and thinner, the other end is thicker. You know, that kind of bothers me, but not completely, mostly because it kind of serves a purpose. The thinner end is meant to be slided down the holster on his back. Like so. Which I really like. Weapon storage. And just like every other Turtles toy, the extra accessories come from a sprue, and you have to cut them out with a sprue cutter. So here are some of the additional weapons. Here's his shuriken, and out of all the shuriken, I like these the most because they really remind me of Predator smart discs. Here's the 3-section staff. It's a Chinese weapon. There's wrapping detail, so you have to paint that if you want to look more like wrapping rather than just plastic. But I don't mind. But for the chains, I do recommend painting them silver if you want to make them look like realistic chains. But what I love about the 3-section staff, it's at a different angle, so it makes excellent displays. And here's the Naginata. And just like Michelangelo with his Kusarigama, this is an upgraded version of Donatello's signature weapon. And for those who don't know what a Naginata is, it's a pole arm weapon with a very thick shaft and a curved, almost crest-like blade. It's basically a spear, and it was used by the samurai during feudal Japan. But this has incredible detail, the wrappings. So again, you want detail, you have to paint it, and the excellent blade. So for the weapons, I really do recommend painting them, especially the 3-section staff and the Naginata. But for the bow staff, I don't think I'd ever paint this because I like it to look like all plain wood, even with the detail. And here's the awesome part. Since he has a bow staff and a Naginata, you can have him hold one and while the other is in storage. Like, I could have the bow staff in his hand, and I can have the Naginata in storage like this. So honestly, that's kind of my ideal way of displaying him. So, my final thoughts on this guy? Well, it's the same as Michelangelo. It's a really good figure. There are flaws, but they're mostly nitpicks and very insignificant flaws. So this is a really great toy. The paint, the sculpt, the details, the articulation, and a really good amount of accessories. So you're really getting a lot for $8 in retail. And just like Michelangelo, I'm just hoping for a Classics Collection version where it's 6 inches in scale, has the best articulation and details. But otherwise, I think this is the definitive 2012 Donatello. This figure alone is just amazing. I mean, the Classic Collection version of 2003 Ninja Turtles, which is my favorite cartoon out of the three, and the 2012 is just as good. If that doesn't happen anytime soon, these toys are still good. So these will be the definitive 2012 Ninja Turtles for a while. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. So until then, Booyakasha!